red, black, and green on, or a flag, or armband, or something like that, or a cap. You know, that's the influence of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey influenced Bob Marley with the Rastafarian movement, so he picked up the colors of Marcus. Of course, Bob Marley was also from Jamaica. He grew up in Trenchtown, but Garvey was a great influence on Bob Marley as well.
And I think, Dr. AAl-Hadid, we might say that even some of the more popular activities that Africans are involved in, African Street Fair Festival, for example, all in a real sense can be said to go back to that period of, with the influence of Marcus Garvey, the economic influence, and et cetera.
There's no doubt about it, yeah. And also with the creation of the Organization of African Unity on the African continent, which is a framework designed to unify Africa. And you can trace that back to Marcus Garvey as well.
Well, now, what can we do over the last minute and a half, Dr. AAl-Hadid, to make Garvey's career much more public? It seems that only the historians and people like yourself know about Marcus Garvey. What would you suggest over the last minute that we have that could be done in order to sort of resurrect Marcus Garvey and his influence?
Well, one thing we're going to do with the 11th Annual Africana Studies Conference is that Saturday, which would be the 4th or 5th of February, we're going to have a Garvey Marley concert, and that's going to be an annual feature of our annual conferences to make young people more aware of the teachings of Garvey. I mean, I use Garvey's philosophy and opinion in my classes, and I constantly expose students to that. So in the small way in which I'm working, I'm trying to make Garvey's ideas effective. And then we need to have more conferences and meetings centered around Garvey's idea, because a lot of people think that Garvey was just talking about putting people on, African Americans or black people on ships and then taking them back to Africa. His plan was much larger than that. He was talking about creating the United States of Africa, and then where African people are, they can still relate back to the motherland, even though they might remain in the African diaspora physically, spiritually, and in culture they would connect with Africa.
Dr. AAl-Hadid, we're out of time again, as you generally know, and let me thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information about Garvey and some of his activities. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.